Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Abe with MysticGenMara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, whenever you happen to be seeing this, I would like to offer the elemental energy reading for the element of water for the month of September of 2026. Water covers the zodiac signs of Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. So if you're Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, or have water high in your charts, then this message is for you. If you've never had your charts read, there is a link in the description. It's not sponsored or anything like that, to a natal chart through Llewellyn. It's just a really easy tool to click in there and get. It gives you your base 12 houses with 10 to 20 page description of what all those little symbols mean. The other links are affiliate links, so they do support the channel when you click through those. And water. Before I started the video, I cast the hexagram, and you have hexagram 32 in the I-ching, and your title is The Long Enduring. I believe you've had this one before. So, the text says, The long enduring, success and freedom from error. Righteous persistence brings reward. It is favorable to have in view some goal or destination. When they talk about righteous persistence, and I reference this a lot with these, it's not a religious thing. It's a moral, ethical code of conduct that you hold yourself to, those non-breakables, those non-negotiables. And that's what you're sticking with. As long as you're sticking to those things, that's what's going to bring you reward. And it is favorable to have a view or goal. So you want to make sure that you have something that you're working towards. You have something you're building towards. Whether it's with your job, a relationship, something else in your personal life, like even artistic goals and pursuits, that's what's going to lead to this. Now, is it going to be instant success? No, because your title's The Long Enduring. So it's success and freedom from error. Things are going to go really good for you for the month of September. You may not achieve the goal, but you're going to make a lot of progress towards it. This is a long-term energy that we have coming in. So our foundation line, the bottom line, to ensure his continuance, he digs a hole for himself. This sort of determination brings misfortune, for he isn't able to go anywhere. So you're not going to create the best of everything at the very beginning. So the energy is coming in saying, plan ahead. Don't just jump into the middle of the project if you haven't got your first few steps going, which this being a foundation line is good advice for in general. But you want to get your plan laid out. You want to figure out what's going on. What are your next steps? You're not going to go from step A to step M. You need to have like B, C, D. So you want to make sure you're doing things in the proper order, and that's where water, your intuition, which you work with really well, is going to be a huge boon for you. Your second line, regret vanishes. So once you have the goal ahead, you're working on the plans, you're following your intuition, and you're sticking to your code of conduct, that righteous persistence energy, you're going to actually do really well. And that's where the regret of, well, what if I'm not doing the right thing? Do you want the goal or not? If your answer is yes, then you're doing the right thing. If the answer is no, maybe this is a good time to reconsider. But regret is worrying about things that have already happened, so why? Learn from the mistake, learn from the situation, and move forward. So, our third place line, he or she is not consistently virtuous and therefore meets with disgrace. To continue thus would be shameful. That's where you want to stick with your righteous persistence. If you are saying, I'm going to do this on Tuesday because that's the best day, and you don't do it till Friday, not very virtuous. If you are not, if you say you're going to do something, you're going to do it. I was always raised in my family that your word is only as good as you are. So if you say something and you don't follow through, you start to lose respect, and that's a shameful thing. So you want to make sure that you are doing what you say, and don't promise to do something if you can't actually fulfill it. And that's where that virtuous and they're not consistently virtuous meets with disgrace. But it also means sticking to your code of conduct. If you say, I'm not working on this day, and yet you constantly are doing stuff on that day, everyone's going to be like, wait, what? No, that's not how this works. If you say, you're not going to cheat on your partner, and yet you're constantly doing things on the side, that's not virtuous either. So this is where you really want to stick to what your core goals or core values are, so that you stay consistent with your virtue. So your fourth place line, there's no game in the field. Game as in prey. So out searching, but you're not seeing things, you're not noticing things. And if you're out there for a long period of time and you're just not being successful in whatever venture you're starting, take a pause, take a break, reevaluate. Are you actually looking for the right thing? Sometimes when you're out hunting, and I've had this experience myself, you're out there looking for something so hard you can't see it. If you go to the grocery store and you really know that something's in this one aisle, you cannot see it, and yet the person who works there's like, it's literally right in front of you. It's basically searching blindness is how I like to joke about it, because you're looking so hard, but your brain literally blocks the very thing you're looking for. So that's where no game in the field. Is it because you're looking too hard? Is it because you're trying too hard? Water, this is not a short gain. This is a long-term thing. Take your time. It's okay. So our 5th place line, making a virtue of marital consistency, is a type of persistence which brings good fortune to women but is harmful to men. Not quite believing that one. But the virtue of being consistent within a relationship is how you bond with your partner. And it's one of those things where in traditional relationships, especially when the I-ching was written, the woman would be consistent to her husband. That was her goal. That was what she did. That's what her everything was. And that's great. But for the man to only be consistent to his wife wouldn't work. And I'm not saying that to be negative, because in that time period, you had to be consistent with your wife, meaning loyal to her, but you had a job. You had the lordship, the ruler of whatever land you were in. You had that to deal with. You had, if there was a war that came up, you had that to deal with. So the virtue of marital consistency is really saying, for the woman, she has one primary goal. There's a lot of other things. I'm not knocking women, because you've got kids and you've got the household and everything else. But your loyalty is to one. Whereas the man has loyalty to spouse, to job, to government, lordship, all the rest of that stuff. So it's in that time period, that was a much different thing. And if you look around today, the best couples, the one partner, especially the one that stays at home and does the household stuff, because that changes all the time, that one has a loyalty, one. Whereas the one who goes out and earns the money and has to deal with all the nonsense outside of the house, they have a different perspective. That's not anything right, wrong, or indifferent. It is a fact of existence. And that's what they're saying is, when you are paying attention to the laws of nature, in other words, how things roll, you tend to flow a little bit better. So water, pay attention to the dynamics. If something's out of balance, maybe it's time to readdress it. Doesn't mean you have to get into a big huff over it, but it's things to look at. For our capstone here, prolonged violent exercises are misfortune. So if you're doing things to force something, if you're doing things to, I will do it by force, that's probably not the best idea, water. It's better to just go with the flow, find a peaceful, neutral way to move forward. Water, you follow the middle path most of the time anyway, because water goes with the flow on, well, everything. And that's the best way to move forward for you, is to stick to that middle path, stick to that righteous persistence, the values and the core ethics that you were born and raised with, or the ones that you've developed over time if you have a less than stable family home, which does happen. So you want to make sure you're sticking to that kind of stuff, because that's what's going to be supportive according to the I-ching. It's not a matter of, I'm going to fight and do it this way. No need. Don't fight about it, because if you fight about it, it's obviously not the right path for you right now. Right now, it's getting into that mindset of, the goal's there, I have a long journey to get to it, and I'm just going to take my time, because I'm going to do it thoroughly and correctly. That way the next step is so easy that I don't notice it until I'm way beyond it. That's the emphasis here. So with that, let's hop into your cards. I read intuitively, so if you see something different from the cards, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. While you're down there, hit that like and subscribe, do all that fun internet stuff. I like to read week by week for the monthly readings. There's about 5 weeks in September, so we'll do 5 weeks. Each week we look at a guide or guardian, a message from source, and then a little more clarification from the tarot. So your first week's guide or guardian are the angels of taking charge and moving with action. These are the energies that are calling you to create the next steps. Get those plans organized. Get that goal focused and clarified. It does not mean you're going to achieve it today, it means you're going to have a direction. See, he's holding an arrow. You got to pick your direction. You got to get ready, get that drawback going. And this is what's happening right now, is you're setting yourself up for a future success. And you might achieve it this month, depending on what kind of goal you have and how aligned you get. And if you don't, that's fine too, because you're planning ahead. You're planning long term for this situation. Your message from Source is resilience. Rise above the tribulations. When you follow the righteous path and you're sticking with those goals, those ethics, and that code of conduct that are yours, the non-negotiables, that allows you to have the resilience to keep moving forward. Yes, other things may be going on, but you can rise, your little staircase here, you can rise above the problems, you can rise above other people's opinions, because trust me, when you set a goal and you start heading in that direction, people are going to be like, oh, Water, you think you're going to succeed at that? Please don't get involved. Stay out of it. Rise above it and keep your goal focused. Your message from the tarot, you have to edit this one, is the Five of Pentacles. The fives are never very positive, but the Five of Pentacles is really saying, be wary of feeling like a failure financially or in the home. These things are not supporting you. This is a warning card. Do not submit or do not succumb to the energy of, well, it's not happening right now, so I'm going to quit. You also have to get your mindset in the right tone, so you don't want to give up before you've even started. And that's kind of the energy that's coming up with that one for this week. Our second week is the spiritual growth. Just like with spiritual growth, physical growth takes time. The angels that are coming in the second week are here to support your spiritual growth, because as you grow spiritually, you will grow physically in the way that you're aiming for. So if you are shooting for a goal and you're struggling with it, maybe it's time to take a pause and reconnect with Source. Because we can do a lot theoretically on our own, but things tend to go a lot better when we are connected in with spirit. And so the spiritual growth aspect is saying, yes, as you physically change your world, which is change in accordance with will, real magic, you're able to develop your spiritual connection stronger as well. But if you start with the spiritual, this physical part is going to happen a lot quicker. So that's what the angels are coming in to say the second week. You also have the energy of going with the flow, letting things happen, which ties into what your I-ching was talking about. It's not about force. It's not about fighting the system. It's not about fighting to get your way. It's about learning to connect into the natural order of existence. When you are in that state and you align with that energy, things go forward, things pause, things sometimes go back. Why? As the ocean ebbs and flows, you have going in and coming out. You have tides that come up and come down. Water, you are tied to this energy. So don't expect everything to always be pushing forward, because usually when it's doing that, it's not always a good thing. But you do have ebbs and flows, seasonally, lunar months. There's always movement with water because it's not still. When it's still, it's stagnant. So be okay with things moving around. Sometimes you need that to refresh stuff. And the going with the flow is when you get into that state of the ups and the downs with the tides, the moons, the seasons, whatever, you start to realize how you actually blossom and move with the energy. Springtime, everything swells. Fall, everything goes down. Each full moon, the tide goes up. Each new moon, the tide is at its lowest. You've got these ups and downs consistently in your life. And when you learn to tap into those and you start to tap into the natural order, things tend to work a little bit quicker. Your message from the tarot is the Ten of Wands. So this is 10 of Fire. This could be a little bit of a challenge for you. The 10 of Wands is success after hard work, but it's also saying that you have had to carry others' burdens. You've carried emotional burdens. You've carried your own burdens. You're ready to put it down. You've learned the lesson. Your drive to move forward is still there, but it's also saying you don't need to continue to push the way you've been doing. This is also ties into that letting go and going with the flow energy. The second week, don't focus so much on what's happening in the moment. That's important, but the connection to Source is what's really going to help you, and putting down other people's burdens. You don't have to carry everyone else's problems. I know that's easier said than done, but you really don't have to carry everyone else's problems. So allow yourself the gift of rest and relaxation in the month of September. Your third week's guide or guardian are the angels of yes. Find reasons to do things you enjoy. Say yes to the things that light you up. See how happy this dude is here? You want to get into that happy state where you're saying yes to the things that light you up, because that's getting into that natural order. That's getting into that flow state. So when you say yes to those things, the negative stuff tends to fall away anyway, because you're not focusing on it anymore. And that's where the angels are going to be super beneficial in this third week, is reminding you to say yes to the things that bring you joy. Saying yes to the things that are healthy and good for the soul. Saying yes to the parts of life where you've been working really super hard, your friend wants to go out, and you're like, well, why not say yes and just cut the time off at about 10 so you can go home and actually get to rest? You miss seeing your friends, well, go do something. So your message from Source are the animal bonds. With this one, it's about your animal spirit guides and connection to them. But it also could be your physical pets, your cats, your dogs, your birds, some people have reptiles, or even fish. I've seen some entertaining things with fish too. And it's about that connection to the spiritual side of nature. Again, you're being called, water, back to the natural order. When you look at the righteous persistence, when you look at the getting into that flow state, connecting in the way that's most natural, this is that animal bond. It's a subconscious kind of primal way of existing that you're being called back to. And the animals can really show us some of the most beautiful ways to do that. And if you don't believe me, look up funny animal videos, non-AI, on any of the streaming or video platforms. There's a lot of really entertaining ones that you can see, and it just reminds you that even the animals, they have good days and bad days. Sometimes they're goofy as all get out. But when we start connecting back into that natural order, we can laugh at our failures. We can laugh at our mistakes, because everyone does it. It's just part of being existence on this planet. But it's the ability to grow beyond those mistakes and failures, where we don't regret things that happened. We learn from them, that you really get to move forward. Your message from the tarot is the Four of Wands, again with our fire energy here. So this is more of a challenge. It's saying, yes, you're going to have help, but don't turn the help into a crutch. You don't want to always be like, well, so-and-so has to help me or I can't do it. So-and-so has to do this or I can't succeed. That's not necessary. Sometimes you do need a little kick in the rear end to get you moving, and that's what Four of Wands can also offer, because the Four of Wands is help whether you need it or not, but also don't let the help become a crutch. So you have a really interesting warning going on there, like, you've got this, water. Yes, you can ask for some help when you need it, but don't rely on that, because you have the talent and the gift to do what you need to do. Sometimes we just need that little help. Our fourth week's guide or guardian is the Harmony and Resolution Angels. This is the energy that comes in to help us bring balance back to our lives. Like the I-ching talks about finding that natural order and going with it, being in harmony with existence, and resolving any imbalances. You're coming into a stronger state of yourself this month, water, and it's allowing you to really deepen your relationship with, first of all, with God's source, but also with the people around you, and that is going to expand and explode out from you, and others are going to notice and want to copy that in their own way, of course, because they're not going to be able to do exactly what you're doing, because water, let's just be real here, when it comes to getting into the spiritual side, you tend to be a little bit more on top of it than some of the other signs, because you're open to your intuition and that still small voice that we all live with, but water tends to hear it a little bit more clearly. So your message from Source is the Dragonfly. Live life to the fullest. Water, I'm getting this energy that you might be trying to push too hard forward. It's time to take a break. I get this impression here that you're always trying to outdo the Joneses. You only have to outdo yourself yesterday. And if yesterday was exhausted, take a break today, because there's no point in wearing yourself out. Burnout is a real thing. I've experienced it myself. And this is why I'm saying with the Dragonfly, it's remembering those who went before you. Sometimes they're still alive and sometimes they've passed over, but you're remembering them, because it's time to remember why you're doing what you're doing. And sometimes it's for your kids, sometimes it's for your partner, friends, whatever. You're living life to the fullest because you're living in the now moment. But if you don't remember why you're doing it, it becomes hollow and it's not worth the time anymore. So when you're journeying forward and you're pushing ahead and you're going to do the things, make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Your message from the tarot is the One of Wands, Ace of Wands. And the Ace of Wands is an interesting one because it's also saying there's a new beginning. You have a new arrival coming in. This is a sunrise, even though it's all orange like a sunset. It is a sunrise because there's something new happening for you. You're not sure. I mean, you look at her face. She's not sure of how this is going to play out. And Water, you're not either. But you also know that if you follow your heart, follow your passion, fire, you're going to be able to achieve it. But it's okay to say, I don't know. It's okay to reach out for help. When you're living in the now moment and you're connecting with that energy of living life to the fullest, sometimes the best thing you can do is just to kick your feet up and enjoy that book that you've been literally trying to read for weeks. Sometimes the best thing you can do is call your friend up and go for coffee. You don't have to know the reason sometimes, and that's where the One of Wands is coming in, the Ace of Wands, because yes, you're not sure of the path. You know the destination. You know where you're starting from. But sometimes there's more to life than just that. So our last week's guide or guardian, the 5th week, is the Angels of Compassion. Now, compassion is the agape love energy. This is the energy that directly comes from God's source. This month, as you're connecting back in with your spiritual connection, the world is starting to manifest and align with your goals in the natural order. That allows us to show compassion, the agape love of God's source. This is where we can see everyone through the lens of God. It doesn't mean we have to like what they're doing, but we can love the soul behind it. The actions sometimes need correction, and that's fine, especially if you're a parent or in a management role. There's times where you have to correct. There's times you have to readdress. You have to deal with things. But when you're doing it for the right reasons, that's that compassion energy. That's why that righteous persistence, following the righteous path in the I-ching is so important. If you're sticking to your goals and your ethics and the code of conduct that you know you are tied to, the compassion comes easily. It's when you're not connected to that you're not really sure, and that's where it gets into the toxic passion, or toxic compassion, which isn't really compassion, it's an ego-driven thing, and then you get into all sorts of chaos and nonsense. But when you're connected with God's source, that compassion comes so naturally, you don't even realize that you're using it. Your message from Source is the Owl, following your intuition. This is a reminder to you, Water. You already do this anyway. But when you're in that flow state, you're really tapping in, you're living life to the fullest, you're following your intuitive guidance. The Owl is an energy of wisdom, but it's wisdom in silence. It's wisdom in the night. This is energy that's coming in to support you and guide you, but it's doing so from a point of quietness and stillness. Source wants you to know that the chaos of the world is not life. The chaos of the world is not existence. The chaos of the world is the illusion to distract you from A, your spiritual connection, but B, your ability to tap into the natural order of existence and therefore create the goals and dreams that you aspire towards. So in this last week, it's that reminder that yes, you may not achieve the goal exactly in 1 month, that's fine, but you're the long enduring. This is the long game, and you're willing to play it, and you play it best when you've tapped into your intuition. So our 5th week's message from the tarot is the 3 of Chalices. This is kind of a celebratory energy, really, because it's a relaxation. It's that call to, you know what, when you're doing everything good, it's all right to take a day and go have some coffee. It's okay to go out with your friends and have a nice dinner or go to a movie. And that's this energy, is the 3 of Chalices are saying, celebrate your wins. Celebrate as far as you've come. Doesn't mean that you hit your destination, that's fine. But be happy and joyful in how far you've moved forward, because this allows you to shine the light and direct your joy into the future. If you're not happy with the goals that you've achieved, how are you going to continue to achieve? Because if you're not happy with the small achievements, your big achievement's going to be a complete letdown. So you really want to get clear when you're going forward that you celebrate each of the steps along the way. It doesn't have to be a full-blown party, but like, okay, that's completed. I don't have to cook dinner tonight. We're going to go out with some friends. That's completed. I'm going to take an hour and read my book. That's completed. I'm going to fill in the blank. Enjoy the small wins. Pat yourself on the back. Healthy pride saying, no, I did the work. God's source helped me. We completed it together. It's done. Job well done. Now I'm on to the next part. That's the healthy pride. The ego side is way more toxic, so we're not looking at that. But with this energy coming in this month, water, it's really about reconnecting to God's source, reconnecting with your long-term goals, and getting clear on what those are, and then taking each moment that comes to you and moving forward in beauty within that area, following your intuition and that inner quiet guidance that water carries as a natural talent. So with that, I will let you guys and gals go. Have a great rest of your month, and I will see you in the next video.